everybody. We're here at Geary Elementary Community School and we're doing a project. It's an art project, so these children range in age from kindergarten to grade 5. And the project is about outdoor sculpture, and so it's named the Geary Elementary Sculpture Garden. I'm working with the Fredericton Arts Alliance, who have given me a grant, and so this has enabled me to be able to work with the school. I'm from a small community in French Lake, and it's right beside the school, and my own children, one of them is now in middle school, but my oldest daughter went there and my youngest daughter goes there. So I wanted to be able to work with the children in that school because it's in my community. I felt close to the teachers, I knew them, and I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity to be able to bring some of my skills and my art experience to them directly into their classroom and with all of those little kids in the school. It will be a wonderful project. I had always been frustrated that when the time frame came around for these grants, that I would have to, they were advertised in September when school started back and everybody came in. They think, okay, what great projects can we do with the kids this year? So that would like spark off people would send out calls for submissions. But by the time they made a decision on those, it would be maybe October. And then you had this tiny window just before and after Christmas in order to make that project happen, deliver it, wrap it up and send in a report. And it was at the coldest times and the times when it was difficult to transport things and when the kids didn't really get to be outside. So the first thing was I saw this as, there's something lacking here. I'd really love to be able to get outdoors with them because that's how I felt myself all the way through those winters, and we know that, right? Being Canadians and we're here and we're freezing and we always say, I can't wait for the snow. Like, where are the buds? I can't wait for the plants and the flowers to come up. So I had that feeling through the winter when I had my cabin fever. So it was on my radar. So I started to keep my notebooks on Pinterest and Facebook. And so I would see these garden projects coming up again for mixtures called hypertufa, which were a combination of peat moss, perlite, which is these tiny little volcanic stones, mixed with cement. And then of course water to make it all into a kind of a soupy, slurry kind of mixture. And you can do it at different consistencies. But anyway, I saw this on Pinterest and I thought that would be perfect. I would love to allow the kids to use this because it actually looks and acts like a clay when it's made with a thick consistency. So I knew it was something that they could handle. And so I thought, well, we could make sculpture. We could go outdoors with it and they would be able to play with a product that normally people make pavements from. These sculptures look like stone people. Right, so there's head and shoulders, and they're placed on the surface, on the ground. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like they're almost emerging from the ground. And the kids have called them like stone people or cement heads. But what they're going to be is vessels. They're made of this hypertufa cement mix, and they harden like rock. But then the heads will be hollow, they'll be scooped out, and then they're going to put some potting soil and plants, seeds, maybe they can grow herbs in them as well, and then they'll grow like the hair. We had 9 classes in total, and the children ranged from kindergarten up to grade 5. So I had to kind of divide it into, I thought, well, what's manageable, what can we attain? So I thought, well, if we do 1 per class, every class has a sense of ownership and pride, and each of them are going to be unique. So they'll be able to point it out and say, hey, that's Mrs. Manuel's one, or that's Mrs. Arnaud's, and that was my class's work. So I divided it into stages. So first they had to make the stuffing or the inside because it needed something robust, like a frame that the wire and all of that hypertufa mix could push against, and it wouldn't kind of like collapse in on top of itself. So we used newspaper and bubble wrap. So all of that kind of, the stuffing came from things that we were able to recycle, like the garbage, so to speak, that's left around in your house. And the children rolled them up into balls. And what was nice about this is, there were no big criteria. It didn't have to be any sized ball. So every child in the class was able to do this, and they weren't told, no, that's not good enough, or it has to be the right size. They were able to throw themselves into it and just really play. So when they made these, the stuffing, they brought them together and they composed a head, and they wrapped it in bubble wrap to hold all of that contents in. And then they made the neck, and then they made the shoulders. So we kind of talked a bit about anatomy and how when we make something three-dimensional, like it's different when we're drawing on a two-dimensional surface, you're translating information, and they can draw like a circle or a cylinder or a kind of sausage shape on paper, but they have to work together to make that in space, a three-dimensional form. So we talked about geometric shapes, and that was kind of fun. Like the teacher was kind of looking at them, now guys, remember, this is actually a math class. So it's nice when they see a real world application, that here they are doing an art project, and they're being able to utilize resources that they've just learned in math class. And when I talk to them about, well, it's not a circle because you're not drawing it on paper, what's the name of this? It's a sphere, that's right, and this is a cylinder. So we built those shapes, the spheres and the cylinder for the neck, and then a kind of a longer one for the shoulders, and they were able to place them all together, so they had the stuffing. And I had a great vision that they'd be able to do the entire project, all 9 classes, because that's what I wanted. I wanted them to do it. It wasn't to be my artwork. I just wanted to kind of be a facilitator and go, hey, look, you can do this, keep going. I'll give you materials and I'll show you how and make suggestions, but I wanted it to be their artwork when it was finished, not mine. So stage 1, the stuffing is done. Stage 2, we had to wrap it in chicken wire. So the wire can be difficult for little hands to use, and it's spiky. So I knew that I would have to wrap that just for safety reasons. So that was stage 2. So I wrapped them all in chicken wire and showed them what I was doing. And then stage 3, we mixed up this hypertufa mix, which is the perlite, moss peat, and cement in an equal ratio. And what's interesting about it, and I don't know much about gardening or making potting mixture for plants, but it's a bit like, okay, well, I have an art problem and I need to solve this art problem. So I start having to read about cement mixes and perlite stone. And so perlite comes from volcanic areas. It's like this little stone, a byproduct. And it's super light, and it looks almost like styrofoam, that fake snow that you get in packaging, and it's used to aerate soil. So the idea is it's nice and light, and it allows air to pass through your soil, or through any mixture for that matter. And then the peat moss is it's dry, and it looks almost and smells a bit like manure, which the kids were all fascinated with. They kept saying, it smells like a farm, smells like horse poop. It retains moisture. So you have this thing that causes air in the mixture, and then the moss peat will actually hold moisture in, and then the cement bonds it all together. So it creates this fake rock structure, for want of a better word, right, called hypertufa. So when it dries, it becomes a perfect receptacle for things to grow on it. So it should age, and you'll have moss growing on it. Like if little seeds fell, like grass and stuff, that would actually grow off of it too. So that will be fun. The children, I'm hoping will paint some grass mixture on for beards or for mustaches, and that will grow. So stage 3 was making this hypertufa mixture, and it became really messy really fast. So the first 3 classes we had, I realized that the mixture dries out very fast, and over the course of 1 hour, which doesn't seem like a long time, the cement was already starting to set. And we had on Tuesday a light breeze, which is not hypertufa's friend, because that increases the drying rate. And we had sun, and we had lots of bugs. So it was starting to feel like a masochistic art lesson. And I thought, no, we have to save this. The kids just didn't, they were having a hard time handling it. And as some of them would hit the mixture on the back, some of the mixture on the front of the sculptures would fly off. So I needed to find a way that we could break it down into smaller bits so that it would be more controlled. So what I did was I got some small hand mixers, and then we broke the mixture into smaller containers. And I thought to myself, well, if we can't apply it, and this is part of the limitations, you can make a plan and it can seem really, really wonderful. And I did 4 tests myself in the studio and they dried out perfect. But then you take 20 little children and you try to repeat that process with it. And then you also have variables like the wind, the heat, the bugs, and other stuff happening. And the product wasn't drying quite right. So I had to make a decision that at that point, I would apply that mixture with a spray gun. So like it's like for doing stucco on a wall. And I could control it. I also borrowed a mini cement mixer, which meant that I could mix up an industrial sized batch of the Hyper Tufa. So when they were coated, they all came from the same batch and it was made at the same time. So we weren't in danger of bits of it drying out or other bits of it falling off because they were at 2 different stages of curing. So the children got to actually help me make the mix and prepare it. And they also, we coated the trays and stuff. I wanted them to be able to name it. We were going to call it the Geary Gators Sculpture Garden, because it's the Geary Elementary Community School, and their logo and their mascot is a gator, and they call themselves the Geary Gators. So I thought, well, it would be really nice to make a sign, like stepping stones, that would go right in front of this group of 9 outdoor sculptures to say the Geary Gators Sculpture Garden. So, and it had a nice rhyme to it, and they really liked that. They thought, it's so cool. So we made signs, and each class took some letters, and we've made, and they've spelled out the sign. So I guess the project expanded slightly in that we were each going to make, or each class, all 9 of them, make a little outdoor sculpture, which was a head. And because there were limitations with that, rather than say, well, guess what, you can't do it, it was a case of, okay, they can do it, but we just can't do it with this volume over this amount of time. When we scaled it back, we now ended up with a sign spelling out what it is as well, which is really cool. This is probably, I think, the 4th project that I've done in schools. In this particular one in Geary, there's also a project called The Faces of Geary that we did. And it was a painting project, and it ended up being a beautiful mural, 3 of them actually, that are positioned in different parts of the school. And the project came from, children love drawing faces. And they tend to do the Mr. Potato Head thing, where you'll often see like arms and even legs coming. The face is just, it's almost like the entire body. And, teaching at 3rd level, I'm teaching drawing in classes and the anatomy of the face, and I thought it's really amazing. Like they're so clever. They're like little sponges, but it's like I don't ever remember in school being given an anatomy lesson of the face. And I thought it would be nice, because at the time I was doing this with my students in the college. So I thought, well, why not make a project and actually bring that to the school and let them learn how to draw faces, the way faces should be drawn. And I wanted them to have a sense of ownership over it. So I told them, you're all going to paint a picture of your own face. And we're going to call the project The Faces of Geary. And to kind of broaden it somewhat, I said to them, its faces really in the community. So it could be the changing faces of the community. It could be about your dad when he was younger, if you don't want to draw a picture of you, or it could be about your grandpa, people that you see around you. But it really was a way of just bringing the community in and involving them in the school, so that the children could have conversations and go back and say, hey Mom, what did you look like? Or do you have any pictures of you when you were my age? And then they could look at them and compare them and talk about them and have some dialogue. Each of the students did, we did this lesson of the anatomy of the face, and it was incredible, the difference. So they did a painting or a little drawing of themselves on paper with pencil of their own face as they thought they were, or as they imagined. And then after I did the lesson and the demonstration, I got them then to repeat that process. And it looked like for some of them that there were years of a difference. So there were stark contrasts in a really, really good way. So it was very successful. So after the initial anatomy lesson, we thought, well, you know, let's color them. Let's make it into something that's bigger so it becomes a lasting piece of artwork in the school. So yeah, this is the third mural from this series. And so it's like an active one. We took some of the grade 5ers who had real artistic inclination, who the teachers identified and said, you know what, they're really good drawers, or they're great at working on their own. They use such good initiative and they're so creative. So I wanted to find a way to give them a little bit something more, because everybody got to work on the entire mural, but I wanted them to be able to kind of like, you know, flex their creative muscles, so to speak. So I gave them this project, and they did silhouettes of children playing, and then they used blocks of color to kind of bring it all together. So now in the new school, this lives right next to the gymnasium, which is inside. So it acts also as wayfinding, that the children go, it's like, here's this image with lots of activity and stuff happening, and it's right next to the place where they go to do their phys ed. And also people are greeted. They come through these double doors, and this is the first thing that they see, and the children have said, I love school on it. It's like, so happy. It's a great way to start the day. And actually, if you guys wanted to come into the gym, you'll see another piece of artwork that brings in other important artists from this extended area in how we finished off the logo on the gym floor. So here. So we have a big gator. It's the home of the Geary Gators, and their logo, their symbol is this cute little gator. And way back years ago, they already had a logo that had this guy on it, and they weren't really sure about the history. Like, he'd been around for quite some time. He was with the school, and he'd come home on little notes and stuff. But they wanted him redrawn. It was very pixelated, and there's years and years of photocopying and faxing, and it really kind of broke apart. So I had a little bit of money, and I thought, will I buy more paint? What will I do? And I thought, you know what, they need the logo done. So I went to a good friend of mine, Brad Lucas, who is an animator with Disney and had been out there for like the best part of 10, 12 years. So we have like that's really the pinnacle. It's like, you know, imagine like these children then get to have somebody who's worked with Disney, the top of their game for 10 years. And I gave him the picture of the old gator, and I said, hey Brad, do us a favor, can you redraw this and do it digitally and do a good job of it, which he did.
Hi, my name's Brad Lucas. I'm a traditional animator. How did I get to the project? I think, well, I was working with Jean Rooney at the time. We were both teaching, and she came into the school with this project she was working on, and we got talking, and I forget if I volunteered or if she asked, but somehow the two of us just ended up with me taking home the alligator to rework it or to give her different drawings of it. And that was pretty much it. I did the alligator in Flash. It was it had to be vector, if I remember correctly, so she could manipulate it and transfer it to different mediums and whatnot. And yeah, so I just went home, took the existing one that they had, and made it what it looks like now, I guess. Jean was fun. It was just, we would just meet at work, and if I had something done, I'd show her, and off we went and ran with it that way. And yeah, she had a couple things, and we had a couple of chuckles and some good laughs while working on it, and it got done, and she was happy with it, and that's that.
And then I took the picture of the gator and integrated it and made a logo. And then we handed that over to buildings, and then they got sign painters that came all the way in. They flew in from Quebec, and then they put our logo on the floor here. So it says home of the Geary Gators, and the GECS is our school. It's like Geary Elementary Community School. So you have people from all over, even from other provinces, working on that project. I'm going to introduce you to some of the students of Geary Elementary Community School. We're going to ask the kids some questions. We're going to ask them how old they are, what grade they're in.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm in grade 5 and I'm 10.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm in grade 4 and I'm 9. My name is Caitlin and I'm in grade 5. My age is 11.
Hi, my name is Jaden. I'm grade 5 too.
I'm Regan. I'm 11 tomorrow, and I'm in grade 5.
I'm Gracie. I'm in grade 5 and I am 10.
Hi, my name is Landon. I'm 10 years old and I'm in grade 5.
Hi, my name is William and I'm 10 years old and I'm in grade 5.
My name is Aiden. I'm 11 years old and and I'm in grade 5.
My name is Caden Lavalley. I'm 11 years old and I'm in grade 5.
I'm in grade 4. My name is Matea and I am 10. My name is Janessa. I'm in grade 5 and I'm 10.
My name is Zachary and I am in grade 5.
I'm Alyssa. I am 9 years old and I am in grade 4. My name is Grace and I am in grade 4 and I'm 9 years old.
My name is Ryan. I'm in grade 5 and I'm 11 years old.
My name's Caden and I'm 11 years old.
My name's Hunter. I'm 11.
My name is Brooklyn. I'm 11 and I'm in grade 5.
My name is Carson. I am 9 and I'm in grade 3.
Robert. I'm 9 and I'm in grade 4.
Hi, my name's Ellen.
My name's Lachlan.
I'm in grade 4.
I'm in grade 4 as well.
My name is Kaz.
My name is Samantha. My name's Alexis. And I am 10 years old. And I am 10.
My name is Sam. I'm in grade 4 and I am 10.
My name's Alicia.
And my name is Carly. I'm in grade 3 and she's also in grade 3. We're both 8.
We're going to ask them, do they like art? What's their favorite kind of art?
Well, I love art a lot. I don't really have a favorite because I love like every type of art that you can do. So that would be my answer.
I like art and it's basically the same as her. I like every kind of art.
I love art, and my favorite kind of art is drawing.
I really like art too, and mine is probably drawing too.
Art a lot. My favorite kind of art would be like the art where you take little pieces of tissue paper and you place them on to make designs.
My favorite art would be sketching.
Making little like video game things.
Yeah, I do like art and I think my favorite type is sketching.
Yes, I like art, and abstract is probably my favorite type of art. I also like art, and abstract is my favorite as well.
My favorite kind of art would probably be abstract just because it's kind of messy and it looks kind of neat sometimes.
Because I draw like my favorite characters in video games.
Drawing the RMS Titanic.
I like art because it's really fun and you can use your ideas in art, and my favorite type of art is abstract because it's just all your ideas put into a piece of art. Yeah, I like art because it's really cool to look at and it's really fun to draw, and my favorite kind of art is abstract too.
Art is awesome, and my favorite art is playing with clay.
And we asked them, what would you like to name your statue?
Billy Bob Joe.
Bob. Junior.
Mr. Puffy Man. That's the name.
Mine would probably be Bob.
Skippy?
Cookie? I don't know.
Dopey.
It's Landon.
the minion statue.
I would name it Captain Pippi.
Fred.
Squiggle.
Grace.
Probably Willis.
Arnold. I would name it the Statue of Carson.
B-Man.
Mittens.
Blobby.
Ernie.
What do you think about this art project?
I like this art a lot because everybody gets to work together and have fun and make something that's pretty cool.
I think the art project that we're doing is fun because we're working together as a class.
Thank you for visiting the Geary School. I hope you enjoyed our outdoor sculpture project, and we'll see you again soon.